Hi and welcome to this training session with Generation Waste. My name is Lina and I'm Head of Education and a former chef and a restaurant teacher. We are very happy about this collaboration because we will make an impact together. Generation Waste helps to reduce food waste in restaurant kitchens and hotels. Our goal is to create sustainable change for a more sustainable future. And we work for a change in behavior through tailored training for staff and management in kitchen. Working in a restaurant with our food waste tool means measuring food waste every day. This will give you insight that lead to effective actions and savings. We are of course aware a chef can't reach the zero waste goal in everything that they deliver, but in most part of their work they can, and you will. That's why Generation Waste vision is zero waste, and our mission is to change the world one plate at a time. Working with food makes you responsible for our three most important international resources, the access of water, energy and food, which are all in short supply. The need and demand for all three of these will increase by 50 to 90% the next 25 years. Reducing food waste is one of the solutions to manage this demand. To get you involved, let us take a look at how much water is being used to produce some of the food that you cook and serve. As you know, fresh water is in short supply in large parts of the world, not at least in countries that grow food. So how much water do you think is needed to produce and cook 1 kilogram of each food? Here you see rice, avocado, peanuts, beef and chicken. What is your guess? How much water do I need for a kilo of rice from farm to fork? Did you have a guess? Here's the result. Taking responsibility for your foods means respecting the food, understanding where it comes from and how it came to be and what resources were required for you to be able to cook and serve such fine and varied food. When taking responsibility, finding ways to waste as little as possible, that makes you a change agent for sustainable development. And when working towards a more sustainable future, we embrace financial sustainability, ecological sustainability, and also social sustainability. In terms of food waste, that means analyzing and follow up your food waste data and key figures. It means maximizing the use of your foods, reducing greenhouse gases. It also means spreading the knowledge of how and why among all employees. Let us take a look at what counts as food waste, and as we do so, be aware that your staff most likely belong to different food cultures and therefore have slightly different eating habits and meal traditions, some more different than others. What I consider normal to cook and eat may not be as obvious to some of you. And because of our food culture, we also value food and parts of food differently. What you consider to be edible food or not is probably from your eating habits or your food culture. Well, you have two vegetables in front of you. We have the cauliflower and the parsley. If it's edible, how would you choose to cook it? The cabbage core and the leaves, the parsley stem, what would you do with them? In the end, it's all about the right cooking method, isn't it? Any food that you handle is at risk of becoming food waste if you don't handle it properly. And you as a team have to choose what your food waste will consist of. What is okay to leave in the bin and what isn't? Choose wisely. We have a lot to learn from each other. The differences of cultures is a chef's inspiration. It awakens our creativity, and if used correctly, it can help you to reduce food waste. There are a few exceptions. Shells from shellfish, bones from meat, and coffee grounds. These should not be weighed and registered as food waste. Then we have another exception. That's peel from big exotic non-organic fruits like pineapple and watermelon. These should not be weighed and registered and must therefore be separated from your other food waste, together with coffee, bones from meat and shell from shellfish. So let us present the measurement routines that will from now on be a part of your daily work in the kitchen and in the restaurant. We measure food waste in 3 fractions. You see them in front of you here. It's plate waste, and it's serving waste from the buffet, and it's kitchen waste. Plate waste is leftover from the guests, and serving waste or buffet waste is leftover from the buffet or the service line. Kitchen waste, that is peel, steams and vegetable tops, surplus food, not edible food from storage and fridge, and maybe food that's somehow ended up on the floor. It's pretty much everything that you waste from the kitchen. In the kitchen, you will have access to a measure station with a scale and a tablet that displays the generation waste application. The tablet could be an Android tablet or an iPad, an Apple tablet. When you weigh your waste, enter the weighed amount in the application under the correct food waste fraction. Is it waste from the kitchen? Is it from the guest's plate, or is it from a buffet? Also make sure your food waste is registered at the correct meal. Is it waste from a breakfast serving, from lunch or dinner? There are different meal options depending on the type of restaurant that you are cooking at. Food isn't rubbish until you waste it. Wrap this in your head and think twice or ask your colleague before throwing something in the waste bin. Our food system is global. Very little of what you serve here in your restaurant is locally grown. Am I right? Therefore, food waste must be dealt with as a global problem. The world's most unnecessary problem. How you handle food will inevitably have consequences elsewhere. Did you know that 40% of all foods that is grown, raised, caught from the sea, 40% of everything produced as food never ends up in someone's stomach? It goes to waste instead. We are talking about 1.3 billion tons of food every year. This means that agricultural land equivalent to land area larger than China or Canada is used to produce food that we waste. In addition, fossil fuels used to grow and transport our vegetables, meats, dairy products and so on are also wasted. Now you hopefully understand why we argued about respecting food. In this picture, you can see that food waste generates more impact than some of our most common means of transports. Food waste accounts for 10% of all greenhouse gas emission in the world. 1.3 billion tons of food waste, that is a scary figure. So this is how big the climate impact is from food waste. If you work in a restaurant and the result is reduced food waste, the climate impact from the transport sector will also be reduced, because both food and waste needs transport. So good on you if you are minimizing your food waste. What is the cost of your waste? Well, it depends on how much food waste your team and the menu generate, of course. Here's an example. You see the key figure, which is food waste gram per guest, and then you see the weight for a year and the cost for a year and the greenhouse gas emission for a year. And this is calculated with 1,000 served meals per day. This inverted pyramid shows which course of action is most sustainable. We should always strive to manage our meals within the green field that you can see here. Food waste that still occurs should be used for biogas production according to the EU regulation which became law in 2024. Let's have a look at an action plan for less food waste. First of all, act on the results and make fundamental changes. And for some of you, improve your knife skills, please. And then reduce peeling, trim and remove what is bad instead of throwing everything away. Love your to-do list. Always start the day with your leftovers from the day before. Create new recipes, smart recipes, but don't produce new products that end up unused. Remember to always date stamp stored food. What's in it and where and when did you cook it? Organize your fridge and your freezer so you can find surplus food easy and take care of leftovers from cutting your vegetables. Measuring your portions, that is a very important thing to do. And be cool and try not to overproduce food. We would also like to share some common mistakes with you. The first one, too little planning. First of all, introduce effective measurement routines. And for that, planning is 80% of your work. Find out solutions that utilize the entire raw material. That means maximizing the use of your food. Mistake number 2 is trying to do everything at once. So instead, start small and focus on a few sources of food waste at a time. If it's bread, find out ways to deal with it. And common mistake number 3, lack of communication. So instead, involve your team, support the team with your knowledge and your skills, and use positive reinforcement. Be a good leader and cheer on your staff. Because great chefs waste less. Here comes a summary. Remember to measure the restaurant's waste every day, and don't forget to enter the number of guests so you get the right key figure. Give each other feedback. reflect on the waste that occurs, and reduce waste and reuse your surplus food. And be sure to respect our food resources with pride. Thank you for your time and commitment. Remember, great chefs waste less. And thank you for doing this together with us at Generation Waste.